Welcome to the City of Bakersfield Planning Commission meeting. This television broadcast is brought to you by the local cable companies, the County of Kern, and the City of Bakersfield. You can watch the rebroadcast of this meeting Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 10 a.m. The agenda for this meeting can be downloaded at www.bakersfieldcity.us. Presiding over this evening's meeting, Chair Daniel Cater.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to call to order the November 7th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Chair Cater.
Here.
Vice Chair Strickland.
Here.
Commissioner Bashir Tosh.
Here.
Commissioner Biddle. Commissioner Kaur.
Here.
Commissioner Coman.
Here.
Commissioner Neal.
Here.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for attending tonight's Planning Commission meeting. This commission provides an opportunity for public participation in the development process throughout the City of Bakersfield. The Planning Commission considers a wide variety of projects, including subdivision maps, zone changes, general plan amendments, and much more. When applications are received, the City Planning Division analyzes the request. Planning staff will present the facts about the project along with their recommendation to the Planning Commission, who will approve the item or make a recommendation as appropriate. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Public statements.
Please note public statements are now received at different times depending on the item. I will call on Madam Clerk to call for public statements at the appropriate time, so please listen carefully for the correct time to speak.
Agenda item 3A, public statements.
Does anyone in the audience wish to address the commission regarding items listed on tonight's agenda? Please note if you are here for consent public hearing items 5A through 5C and non-consent items 6A, now is not the time to speak. You will be given an opportunity to do so at a later time.
Non-agenda item 3B, public statements.
Does anyone in the audience wish to address the commission regarding items not listed on tonight's agenda? If so, please come forward and state your name. Seeing no speakers, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 4, consent calendar items.
Please note all matters listed under the consent items do not require a public hearing and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of said items unless a staff member or a commissioner requests specific items be discussed and or removed for separate action. May I get a motion approving consent item 4A?
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Strickland, may I have a second?
I will second that motion.
Commissioner Kaur. Commissioners, please cast your votes.
Motion passes with Commissioner Biddle absent and Commissioner Bashir Tosh abstaining.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 5, consent public hearing items.
Now is the time for consent public hearing items. If an item is not removed by a commissioner, staff, or a member of the public, the commission will vote on all items in one motion without further comment. If an item is removed, it will be placed at the end of the non-consent public hearing items. So at this time, I would like to open all of the consent public hearing items. Does any member of the public wish to remove a consent public hearing item? Does any commissioner or staff wish to remove a consent public hearing item? Seeing none, at this time, the consent public hearing items 5A through 5C are now closed. May I get a motion to adopt staff's recommendation on the consent public hearing items 5A through 5C, incorporating all staff memorandum and revised staff recommendations?
I'll make a recommendation to approve items 5A through 5C. I think these are all great projects.
And I will second.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman and Commissioner Bashir Tosh. Commissioners, please cast your votes.
Motion passes to approve agenda items 5A through 5C with Commissioner Biddle absent.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 6, non-consent public hearing items.
Please note now is the time for non-consent public hearing items. Before we begin, I'd like to explain how the hearing will be conducted. Staff will first give a report, then those in favor of the project will be allowed to speak. Those in opposition to the project will be able to speak after all of those in favor have spoken. Please note each side will be given a 5-minute total time to provide rebuttal comments. Individual speakers may ask questions, but the questions will not be answered until the public hearing on that item is closed. If preferred, written comments may be given to the clerk, who will provide copies to the commission. Please be respectful of all individuals participating in the hearing, and please refrain from repeating remarks of previous speakers and presenting any new comments or thoughts in a concise and clear way. Mr. Johnson, would you please provide us your staff report on item 6A?
Yes, thank you. I'm going to ask that the project manager, Luis Ramirez, associate planner in our department, come forward. He'll be presenting tonight.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Luis Ramirez. I'm an associate planner with the City of Bakersfield's Development Services Department Planning Division. Agenda item 6A is conditional use permit number 24-0426. The applicant is Clover Entertainment Group on behalf of Rhonda Tassel, requesting a conditional use permit to allow the use of a banquet venue. The project site is located on an approximately quarter-acre parcel. The banquet venue is located in an existing commercial building on F Street north of 26th Street. The site abuts commercial buildings to the north and south. The project site falls within the central district, and any changes to the use in an existing building does not necessitate additional off-street parking, provided there are no expansions of the building square footage. The zone classification of the parcel is C2 Regional Commercial, along with surrounding properties to the north, south, and west of the site. The land use designation is OC Office Commercial. The banquet venue would operate within an existing 10,000 square foot commercial building with off-street parking to the west side of the property. The Clover Entertainment Group proposes to provide event hosting services for gathering of up to 200 guests. Events will be held on Saturdays and Sundays between 4 p.m. and midnight, with office hours from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. throughout the week. Additionally, equipment setup and teardown of events will occur during weekdays as well. Public notification for the proposed project and environmental determination for the public was published and mailed to property owners within 300 feet of the project site. 3 comments were received by the city. All comments were neither for or against the project. However, concerns about operations of the banquet venue, more specifically concerns about noise, parking, trash, and loitering. Staff has addressed these issues concerns with changes to the proposal and added as recommended conditions. Based on the recommended findings in the resolution, staff recommends your commission approve conditional use permit 24-0426 with conditions of approval. That concludes my staff report. Staff and the applicant are available for any questions.
And I'll just add, there was a memorandum that was prepared and distributed amending some conditions and also adding conditions that went out earlier today.
Thank you. The public hearing on the item is now open. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the project? If so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed.
Hello. Hello, good evening, planning commissioners and staff. My name is Jerson Montijo. I'm a little nervous. I know I'm going to be on TV, so I scared. So I've been doing my research.
If I could, would you spell your name? For the
Jerson
record?
is J-H-E-R-S-O-N. Ershon. Montijo, yeah. Montijo.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm the developer together with two of my business partners. One of them is missing, the other one is here. The name of the company, which as you know, is Clover Entertainment Group. As you can see in the report you guys have in your hands right now. The primary purpose of this Clover Entertainment Group is to provide an affordable, convenient, and high quality space to host different types of events like quinceañeras, weddings, birthday parties, holiday parties. And our mission is to deliver an exceptional service and create memorable experiences to all our clients and their guests. We're a family business with family values and with the goal to succeed as anybody else. We have been resident here in Bakersfield, California for many years. I know I do have an accent, but I was born here. We're a local business. We wanted to make a difference in the community without harm. Our vision is to add value to our community, to our neighborhood, and be able to participate, help all other businesses near us, and be part of this Bakersfield growth. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the audience wishing to speak in favor of the project? If so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed. Okay. Seeing no additional speakers in favor. Thank you. Oh. All right.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the Commission. Tracy Leach, I'm the owner of Providence Consulting and the immediate next door neighbor. And you got a letter from my attorney, you got my comments, and unlike most CUPs, I think, applications, we've had a preview of this for over a year, and that's been a little rocky, as you read. Not the best, but it's super weird for me to be here. I am never opposed to business, ever, as many of you know. My day job is promoting businesses, helping them get through permitting processes, developers, companies. That's what we do for a living, actually. So I'm not opposed. I would like conditions that clean it up. My staff spends way too much time helping me clean up the trash on our property or trying to park. That was weird. That's our parking lot. And so things like that, I would like them to do a little better job, be a better neighbor. I've actually never met them, so I'm excited. Hi. We have not met our neighbor, but some of my staff has. But I just want them to be good neighbors. As you all know, downtown is already a challenge. So we just get frustrated when it's our neighbor because we deal with the other stuff all the time. Vagrants, the drug addicted, that's a daily battle and fight. So we try to be really good neighbors, and we just ask the same, and that's all. But I would encourage you to promote this and help them keep succeeding and prospering here in Bakersfield.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rhonda Van Tassel. I'm the owner of the building. And I just wanted to say that I'm exceptionally proud of the young men that started the company about a year or so ago. I don't know my dates right now, but anyway, they've just been so unbelievably successful, not so much maybe with the monetary side of it, but just providing this unbelievable venue. And people have just really, I've attended many events there, and I just think that they just really, really have a really good experience and environment for everyone to come to. I think that I sat outside for a long time in an alley, and I watched as the different vagrants were cruising through all of the different trash cans. I know it's a challenge, to keep people out. I was happy to see this memorandum that mentions that you do have some proceeds and things available for people to be able to lock up their cans better. I do think that's a real challenge. But all in all, I just think that they are ready to conform in any way that you want. And, it's just a good business. And it's something I think that we should hold on to.
Thank you.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry I came a little late. I have a part-time job, well, full-time job.
Could you state your name?
Sorry.
Sorry.
My name's Daniel Serrato. I'm one of the owners of Clover Entertainment. And obviously, it all started as a dream with me and my compadre. And this is our first business venture. Us, coming from a low income family, now we're in our 30s, so you know what? Now we've advanced in our careers and we're able to invest in a business. And obviously, we don't know what it takes sometimes and what to do. But obviously, we do have our neighbor there, and it's just it's embarrassing almost that we didn't set those best practices when we first got there. And obviously, we're here to serve, our community. Obviously, we haven't been involved with the business community here in Bakersfield because you know what, we've been busy to, get more funds to invest into our business. And at the end of the day, we're here to, hopefully stay and have jobs for people, and hopefully be ongoing business for a long time. And that's it.
Thank you for your comments. Before we close, speaking in favor, are there any other members of the audience wishing to speak in favor? Seeing no additional speakers in favor, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the project? Seeing and receiving no comments in opposition, we traditionally forego the rebuttal period if there's nobody on the opposing side. Are there any commissioner questions before we close the hearing? Commissioner Kaur.
I have a question for the staff. Talking about, since being parking as one of the issues, is there any requirement in what proximity the parking spaces needs to be? Looking at one of the maps provided, there's only some parking spaces close to the venue. Rest of the parkings are located further away. Is there any proximity requirement?
In this case, City Council in 2019 mandated through the municipal code that if there's a change in use in the building within the central district, which this falls into, that if there's just a change in use, no additional parking beyond what's already existing is required. There are a couple maps that show what you see here outlined in the yellow rectangles are actually public parking spaces. So these are on-street public parking spaces. There is, since they're public, there is no proximity that they need to be to a building. This map here does show additional private lots from the Westchester Parking Association that owns these lots, that they could come into an agreement with that association. Other projects have, and they could potentially reserve lots, 50 lots on a Saturday night and a Sunday night for their venue as needed.
Okay. And another question on one of these pictures attached where the trash overflow is shown. Who is that sent by, and what day is it from? Can you describe that picture? It's attached in one of the...
That was when staff did a site inspection this morning. Well, I'll back up just a little bit. We did a site inspection yesterday, and it was not that way. So we did a site inspection this morning, and we identified it was that way. So staff reached out to the venue operator, and we said, look, did you have a party last night? Did you clean house last night? Is this your trash? In response, it was no. And then they sent us that screenshot, I'm assuming from their security camera, showing that their two dumpsters are not full, but that other dumpster is. So it was done, I believe the timestamp on that is 2200, approximately 10 o'clock last night. But I'm not sure if there's footage of where that trash came from. You'd have to ask the owner of the camera.
I was able to look in the footage on my camera for the past month and a half. I got previews in the morning, in the evening, and the day after. So I got pictures of that. So I don't know if you guys, I can provide it to you guys. But yeah, I see there was a homeless carrying a chair, carrying stuff, and I see in the footage. I have the pictures here with me. Oh yeah. Oh no, I have additional, which actually it shows a person actually doing it, and I have videos too. You know. Yeah, but that's like, I do have that if you guys need me to provide that.
Oh, do we need the name again? Do you need his name again?
No,
Jerson.
Jerson, yeah,
Yeah.
Jerson, yes.
That's fine. We
Just
have
for
his
note-taking.
name. Yeah,
Okay,
I appreciate
perfect.
that, though.
Thank
Thank you. And if, obviously, if your commission wants to see what he has, there's an overhead projector there. It's up to you.
So. Oh, it's already off. So right here, I think this is the one you guys have, right? I don't know what's that right there, but it looks really good. All right, so right there, that was this morning, right? It shows right there, number 7. What is it? 8:46 a.m. Then at 8:47, I don't know if you see the individual right there. He was carrying a chair, pulling it. He was pulling a chair. And then at 8:51, they cleaned it up. So I guess the trash, the garbage, I don't know, they came and picked it up after, right? So it's just like 3-4 minutes after. But I'm saying like it might look bad, but look, it like looks pretty clean after. So that's one. I've been going back. Sorry, and based on that information, I go back to September 28th on the footage. It says the time right there, 11:08. Clean, correct? 11:29. Sorry, September 29th, midnight, clean. Right there, September 30, 9:45 in the morning, clean. 10:19, October 19, 12. That will be at midnight, clean. October 20, same thing. That will be the next day. October 27 at 9:01 in the morning. At nighttime, it's pretty clean. November 3rd, it was 10:20 in the morning. November 3rd, nighttime, at 8 p.m. Sorry, like that, right there, clean. And this is basically, this is a 4:30. Just still to show, you know, I still show the progress of how it looked the day after, in case it was good. So still clean and neat. So we're trying to keep the, as I say, like with Tracy, you know, we want to make sure we keep it track, and we're implementing that into our process now, cleaning it up then.
And is your trash area enclosed, or is it just open? Those trash bins just sits there?
We close it, but they open it. Homeless open it. They want to get cans. I don't know, stuff. So even if we close it, it's like even has a lock, and they still manage it to open it. I think the problem is because the top is plastic, so they can bend it over. So we have to do something about it. So we're gonna take care of that for sure. You know, another thing I know you guys were discussing about right now, the parking. I managed to talk to one of our neighbors across the street. I don't know if you can see right here, real quick. Sorry. All right, Tracy, I just marked right there so that way we know. So I said no parking, right? Well, I was able to talk to them. I got their business card. If you guys need to contact them, make sure they allow us. And Christina was really nice and said, you guys have no problem. There's nothing on the weekends. You guys can share with Slice of Italy right in the corner. So just want to mention that.
And your party days are usually on the weekends?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then when the Providence parking lot was full in the morning, is just for the setup, or because their office hours probably 8 to 5?
I don't know. On that one, I don't know. We probably have to talk, as I say, like it's a miscommunication sometimes. I know we don't introduce ourselves to them, and I apologize. I think that's usually disrespectful on our part. But more than anything, because I know we have parking spaces in the front. When we come, we're a family, so it's only I have my wife that comes and help me, my daughter sometimes, my compadre, our other partner, and it's only a few of us, We really don't have the stuff to pay right now because we are obviously spending a lot of money on this business. So more than anything, as I say, like I like what she's saying right now. That it's good to clarify things and say, you know what, we're not allowed to park there. Hey, we can do something about it. Put some cones in there, hire some extra people so they can take care of that spot. Don't park here. And obviously check after. Check after the event. Make sure we clean it up. There's no problem with that. And on our end, we're gonna make sure we lock those trash cans,
Have you had any events recently?
No, right now. Yeah, not right now.
Thank you, Commissioner Core. Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Chair Keeter. I think Commissioner Core got to the question about the parking. That my question was going to be a little bit more detailed, not a little bit more deeper, like a little bit more deeper, like that. Yeah, because where were you thinking people were going to park when you had an event center that had 200 people in it? Because you don't have enough parking there. So what was the plan?
But the plan is like, because we were thinking, I didn't know that the code you say that after a certain time, you guys approved it that you can park anywhere as a public parking. We didn't know that, We just saw the place and say it's big enough. Let's make it happen, right? Obviously, there's rules, there's permits that you need to go through before that, so we didn't know that, We see a lot of empty parking. I was like, hey, there's no problem, Sorry for saying that Mexican way, but I was like, you know what I mean? So that's basically what we thought, make simple, easy. We got it. But obviously, we were missing something. And obviously, Tracy already said it. And obviously, we want to be part of this business community. And our neighbors are really nice, everybody there. Okay? And I don't know if I respond to your question.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. There was one more question that had to do with, were you guys operating without a conditional use permit?
You were operating without it, yes.
Okay,
correct.
what was that about? You just didn't know you needed to get one?
We didn't know we needed one,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
After like the pandemic, I was opening ranch here and there and doing events. It was like, we thought it was easy, but I guess not really. It's a process, Okay.
And my last question is for Ms. Leach. Have you seen the latest changes to the conditional use permit that dealt with the parking issue and the trash issue?
Yeah, I just got that and took a look at it, and we wanted some parameters, some structure. Again, I appreciate their entrepreneurialism, but it's been challenging, and we have a business to run. So, yeah, that it looks good to me, Larry.
Okay.
I appreciate you
All right.
asking.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yep.
I have no further questions.
And Commissioner Coleman, it was my fault that Ms. Leach and the applicant actually did not see that memo earlier. It was my fault I didn't get it sent out to them. So they're just now seeing it tonight. So you may want to ask the applicant if they're okay with those conditions.
So that's a good question. Have you seen the latest changes of conditions? Have you had a chance to review them? Yeah,
I absolutely can go over those conditions. So, if I may, I'll start at the top of the memo. We are requesting to amend condition.
Is it put up on the screen? Would it be possible? we could use the projector. Thank you. Just so that we
Yeah,
can all
we can
see.
throw it on the projector.
That'd be
Absolutely.
fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's a good call.
And for the applicant, are you okay reading this in English? Okay, all right.
So anyway, we just want to clarify in this case, this condition 2.3b, that that the actual venue, excluding the hours, excluding the setup and tear down, the actual venue will be limited to Saturdays and Sundays only from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Office hours, as was noted in the presentation, will be beyond those times. Going down to, if you would like, and again, this is staff's recommendation to you, to the commission, not necessarily to the applicant, but the conditions are imposed by the commission with staff's recommendation. I mean, if they oppose the condition, they can oppose it, but it's still up to you whether or not you want to impose it. So if you're fine with accepting a nod of the head, is that acceptable? This condition change acceptable?
Can
Yes.
we talk during this or?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you want to further revise these conditions, now's the time to do it.
How are we going
Ms. King, are we
to-
still within the bounds of our professionalism? Okay, fantastic.
How are we going to keep track that the event is only on Saturday and Sunday between those timings?
The city is reactive, to code violations. So once it's reported, then we will take the necessary action. But we will not have staff driving throughout the city to make sure conditional use permits are being complied with. So we would rely on, in this case, Ms. Leach, to give us information. And I'm sure she would not hesitate. And any other neighbors that may be impacted by a condition that they're not in compliance with.
Can I just hop in real quick and ask? It was in the queue of questions, but we're on the one anyway. So in the operational statement, the applicant, and I asked staff the question, they responded, but the applicant had put in their sample contract that special conditions could exist where an event could be outside of those ranges, right? Let me read the exact one just so I don't lie on it. Yeah, in the example contract, you had that special arrangements can be made for events requiring extended hours. And I just want to make sure that the applicant understands that the conditions, if approved by this commission, would say that you can only operate between 4 p.m. and 12 midnight, Saturday to Sunday. Okay, so cool. Thank you.
And if there are any special conditions, they would have to come back to your planning commission to amend this condition. It's not like they can come to the planning department and ask for a deviation.
To staff on that issue, other venues in downtown area where people are gathering to celebrate or drink or dance, they're open later than that. So why the midnight limitation?
You'd have to ask the applicant. That's their hours. That was not imposed by staff.
Oh, okay, that's their hours. Okay, it's not imposed by staff. Okay, but it is one of the conditions.
That's
Got it.
correct.
Okay.
And the reason we add conditions typically based on operations that are provided to staff. And so if that's how they feel they can operate, then that's what we want to limit them to. And we also do tell them that, look, once we have these, if you want to go outside of those hours or those days, it takes a formal public hearing to do that. There are no special exceptions that can be done.
So then my question to the applicant is, like, your business model, that works perfect for your business model?
Yeah.
Come to the mic.
So if we would like to go extended, we have to come and talk to you guys. Will be another hearing for that too as well?
An entirely new process.
It's
Yeah.
an entirely new process. So either better speak now and...
Forever hold your peace.
Okay, I feel that. Well, I would say it would be better in a way, so we're safe than sorry, to be honest, because sometimes we have to clean. So obviously, you might think, hey, they're doing something, so might as well just be taken care of there. So I would say if we can't If it's possible, if you guys want to take in consideration in the condition, it will be nice. But if not, we understand and we stay with it.
What time would you be asking for?
I would say probably 1.
Well, I think we had exception already for setup and cleanup, so
Right.
this is just the event itself.
So in this case, what we would assume is at midnight, there will be no more drinking, no more music, and it's time to depart. We understand that sometimes it takes 20 minutes for people to depart.
Yeah.
We're not saying all patrons have to be off premise at midnight, but we're saying there should be no more dancing, no more partying after midnight. And then tear down can occur later. If you want that to go later, again, Commissioner Neal, as you noted, now would be the time for them to request that.
Okay, I will request a weekend. Yeah.
Requesting that you got to make it clear.
Okay.
What's the request?
I will request at 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
2
is
a.m.
the request.
Yes, if that's the standard and we can do it, that will be great.
The question for staff is that consistent with other venues, other nightclubs, other places downtown or in this area, the 2 a.m. requests as a condition for
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So just so I'm clear, that everything will remain as shown there, except the 12 a.m. will change to 2 a.m.?
I just asked questions because I think we're still in the hearing portion, but when we get into the next portion, I would like to speak on that issue.
Okay. That can be part of your motion, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
Going down, the next one, we just point, in the memo, we're just pointing out that this facility has occupancy of over 390 individuals, but the applicant, at their request, or at their scope of operations, is limiting it to 200 guests. And therefore, we're saying, based on that is where we come up with our 50 parking space requirement of what would be required if this was a brand-new venue, brand-new construction venue, I should say. But just noting that they're requesting actually about half of what the facility would allow.
I have a question for Mr. Montijo on that point. Can you please come back to the mic? According to the fire code, it says that you can operate up to 390 people in the venue.
Okay.
My question is, why have you restricted yourself to 200?
Because we haven't get inspected and stuff, so I don't know. I want to go the lowest to see if we can later, we were able to do it later. But if I can do it right now, I prefer to do it like to the max that I can.
I would like to ask our planning director to kind of explain the process
Okay.
and of if you wanted to increase it later and your ability to make a request now for a larger number.
Okay.
So again, and not to be too repetitive, but these conditions are what they must comply by. If they want to change the conditions or, and in this case, have more than 200 guests on site, we don't really have a way to amend a conditional use permit. So what they would do is process a new conditional use permit with changing conditions of approval. So they could change the number of guests up to whatever number they want or request it. And it would come back to you to request that.
But can I clarify? I think Commissioner Neal is asking if our recommendations of conditions can be amended now so that if 300 is what they want, that's what we will impose.
Absolutely.
On them tonight, right?
These are only
Commissioner Neal,
staff. These are only staff's recommendations.
Okay.
It's your commission. You can, if you want to change that number to whatever the max occupancy of the building is, you can state that so that you can say the maximum number of guests shall be limited by the fire code. That's your prerogative. Again, our conditions in this case are primarily going off of the scope of operations that was provided to staff.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for that, both of you.
Thank you.
Still a few more, yeah.
Okay.
The next condition we're modifying is in regard to property cleanup and maintenance requirements. And we are adding a condition, in this case, condition 3 or 2.3I, that the permit holder shall be responsible for maintaining the premises free of litter and trash at all times, and any graffiti painted or marked upon the premise shall be removed or painted over within 72 hours of discovery. And again, usually if you report graffiti to the city graffiti cleanup team, that'll be removed within 24 hours. But again, this is partly to be responsive to the comments regarding property cleanup and maintenance requirements.
And just to confirm, this condition is that the applicant has to clean it up by 72 hours or have it cleaned up. The impetus is on them, even if they use the city's cleanup service?
It would, yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, but the applicant probably doesn't have control or may not have any control over when the city actually comes out. So my question to you would be, you know, maybe amending that to report it to the city if it's not, or something of that nature. Okay.
Absolutely. And then the next condition, in keeping with this concern, was adding a condition 23J that prior to commencing operations as allowed by this conditional use permit, the permit holder shall install and maintain visible signage on the premise to discourage littering by patrons, and signage must be placed in prominent locations reminding patrons to dispose of trash properly. And in this case, what we're usually saying is at entrances and exits, or at least along the back wall, because I'm sure that's where most of the littering occurs.
Mr. Montijo, is that something you can do?
Yeah, something we can do, yeah.
Well, my question to staff earlier today, is I asked this question about the signage, because you know, putting signs there doesn't help with disposal, but if you don't have a place for people to dispose of stuff. And you mentioned that that's going to be up to Public Works, or?
If you can hold that thought, there's a condition we're amending further on down. No, it's up. Absolutely, it's okay. The next condition we are amending is regarding loitering. So right now, our condition currently read, loitering is prohibited on the premises or areas under control of the permit holder. And then we want to add that the permit holder shall install and maintain visible signage on the premises prohibiting such loitering. And again, that just provides additional notification to patrons that they can't loiter.
Can those two conditions be met by one sign that has both the loitering and both the trash?
I think that would be preferred, because too many signs will just look cluttered.
Okay. So, okay.
And again, that can be one of your conditions, that these be incorporated into a single sign. The next condition we have is amending a condition for Public Works, and this kind of answers Commissioner Coleman's comments, is we are adding and striking out portions of what we were initially recommending. And so now the condition will read, prior to commencing operations as allowed by this conditional use permit, the permit holder shall consult with the City Solid Waste Department to ensure the business has sufficient capacity of refuge, recycling, organic material storage to go without service for one day, Sunday. At any time refuse, recycling, organic services become an issue, the business shall construct a second refuse enclosure to meet the demand. Second enclosure shall be approved by the city prior to construction, and that would be approved by the City Solid Waste Department. So really what we're saying in this case is prior to commencing any operations, that they will consult with Solid Waste. Solid Waste will go out on site and they'll determine, based on this use, the number of days it's being used, they'll identify what type of trash bins are necessary. Because the downtown is a little bit unique when it comes to trash collection, because of alleyways that are limited and items like that.
To construct the second refuse on the property, they wouldn't need any sort of permits for that?
They would need, through building permits, yes.
Okay. I just want to ask the owner, because if that's something that you would cooperate with on behalf of the applicants, if because of the use, their particular use of the building, if they were required down the line to construct an additional refuse, is that something that Okay.
And I think we're getting into a city code there where they would have to do it. I don't think there's any option not to do that.
I understand that. I'll tell you why I asked the question later.
And that would be all the conditions that we are recommending for amendment and addition at this time.
I just thought it'd be helpful in the conversation. Mr. Johnson, this question's for you. We had a conversation about, as the commission, we're seeing the CUP portion of this venue coming to life. Mr. Johnson, can you explain the building process that will commence after, if the CUP is granted? Just
Yes.
to explain kind of the holistic investment that the applicant is.
And again, this is kind of a conditional use permit that's a little bit unique. It's similar to how some, if a restaurant wants to serve alcohol, sometimes they'll have to come in and get a conditional use permit to be able to serve alcohol in our neighborhood commercial zones. So although in that case, the building's not changing, you're only approving the ability to serve alcohol. So what you're approving here right now is the ability to operate this venue. If that is approved, there's a standard condition of approval that they go to the building department and obtain a change in occupancy of this building. And in which case, there'll be a bunch, I don't say bunch, but there will be more codes required to ensure that the safety of the patrons, because they're changing the occupancy, Chair caters it from B to A, I believe. And so, for instance, they may need a fire sprinkler to the system or the building now, and they'll have to put in that cost. At that time, Public Works will also look at the pavement out back and make sure that the pavement is smooth for the ADA parking. They'll look at inside to make sure that the restrooms are ADA compliant. They'll look at the doorway widths to make sure that those are ADA compliant if they're not already. So this is just like the first step before the applicant or the venue operator will have to get more permits to bring everything up to code.
Thank you. I just thought it'd be helpful to have that as part of the conversation. I have no other questions. I thank you for.
Thank you. Thank
oh.
you. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, Commissioners.
Not clear, but, yeah. So I had a question originally before that. I appreciate that. The question's going to sound like a comment, but I'm getting there. Sometimes this commission will impose like a good neighbor policy upon applicants to try and make sure that they're staying on top of neighborhood cleanliness, or security is a big one. And I asked staff about this. I don't necessarily know that this rises to that, but just wanted to ask the applicant, are you willing to, commit to going around to the businesses around your venue, giving out a business card, contacting those like Mrs. Leach?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Giving them someone that they could directly call if there's an issue, rather than having to go through code enforcement, having to do that.
Yes. Actually, we have, right? The only person that we miss is Ms. Leash,
Cool.
and we didn't go. Yeah, but we have,
Okay.
we went to introduce ourselves, definitely.
Okay.
Give our business cards too, so.
Yeah, because sometimes that's what we see is, a neighbor is frustrated with something going on and they don't have a person to call. They have, comment. Sorry. Yeah, that was it. That was the only question. Sorry. I'm done.
Moving into questionable territory, Commissioner Strickland. So with that, I will now close the public hearing and return it to the commission for comments and action.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, please have a seat.
Comments and action. Well, can I start?
Yes, please, Commissioner Neal. And the chair panel is not cleared, Madam Clerk, is that? So I can't see. I'm not, oh, there we are. Commissioner Neal, you can start us.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'll click next time. I wanted to thank Mrs. Leach and Mr. Leach for standing up in the portion of the hearing in support of the applicants. I've actually never seen that done. It's always very, very oppositional. And so I wanted to thank you for doing that, because your lawyer was involved. When we get lawyer letters, it's usually someone pulling rank or weight against an underling, and you actually stood up during the support side. That's very significant And I just wanted to thank you for that. And I'm sure the applicants can see that you want them to succeed. You just want them to work together with you and the other owners. So that's wonderful. I wanted to thank the applicant for just being honest about not knowing and trying to figure it out and getting in trouble and then coming to the forefront with your application to figure it out. And like Mr. Johnson said, there's other steps involved. And so hopefully you can afford those things if this is approved. I wanted to say that I would like to support and make a motion in support of approval of your CUP with the conditions imposed in the memo that was shared on the projector and with the commission. Just a few changes to that, to the conditions, moving the time from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. for the end of your venue time for your events. Allowing you to use the full capacity of the building that you're paying to rent, and not restricting you to half of the capacity. So I would like to move that to whatever fire is consistent with fire code. And also having you have the option when graffiti is committed against your building to report it to take care of it yourself or report it to the city. So within the time frame suggested. So those are, my motion is to accept staff recommendation for approval with those changes.
Thank you, Commissioner Neal. Commissioner Bashir Tosh.
Thank you. And I would like to concur with Commissioner Neal. That's commendable to do that, and it's very easy to retaliate, and especially when your business is on the line and you've got to provide for. I appreciate that. When I first saw this, I honestly almost had a heart attack that he had been operating without a permit and all of that, especially for Miss Van Tassel as a property owner, thinking about having something go wrong and what that would mean as a property owner, the liabilities that would come with that. It frightened me. So I'm glad that this is getting resolved. But I would encourage you, as a business owner to a business owner, it's important. Wisdom comes from a council of many, to reach out to people. There are some people that would lend you advice and not charge you for it, so that you can make good business decisions. But most importantly, Bakersfield is an amazing city, and it's all about being a good neighbor. It's about taking care of your neighborhood and working together. It's easy just to be a jerk and fight with each other and feud. But this town will continue to be an amazing town if we'll work together and commit to doing the right thing by our neighbors. So I'm happy that we're here, and I was happy to see you shake hands and stuff. But be mindful, and your business minded, and I'm sure this won't be your only venture that you do, of getting the right wisdom poured into you so that you make good business decisions and don't put yourself in a position of liability. Because having been on the receiving end of many lawsuits and businesses, it gets nasty, and it could really impact your livelihood, your family, and all that you've worked hard to do. So you want to protect yourself and make sure that you're always doing the right thing. And when you don't know, it's good to say, I don't know, but reach out and ask. In our city, they're amazing at answering questions and giving the information, and not just dropping the hammer on, things being done wrong, but actually working to support so that we can be pro-business and grow. So I appreciate all of you. This has been a tremendous hearing, and thank you. Thank you.
I think we have a motion and a second, but we do have other commissioner comments. So I'll let all the commissioners comment, and then
I'll be the second.
We'll hold the motion with the second. Commissioner Strickland.
Thank you. Yeah, I was also going to thank the applicant for coming forward. Wish you luck on that. I like anything downtown we get's great. And I really like that we don't have a bunch of parking we're adding to this. I would just maybe caution that if you're going to do wedding and party events at night downtown, make sure those renting the event know to secure public transportation, Uber, Lyft, just because that is a concern. I also wanted to thank Mr. Ramirez for the presentation and standing there at the presentation for a while. So thanks for the work on that, and thanks for staff. before the motion, I would like to have staff read the amended, because I don't know what we added with Commissioner Neal. I don't know if I just want to know what we're talking about, because I didn't see any change on the graffiti that I really saw necessary. So I guess that would be the last comment, and I just want to make sure we have a clean reading before we vote.
Sure, absolutely. I have that. So I'm just going to read it out loud. So condition 23B will now be amended to read, hours of operation for the banquet venue events shall be limited to Saturday and Sunday from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. These restrictions do not apply to the business office hours or event setup and tear down. So that's one change. Second change will go to condition 23A, where it now will say the maximum number of guests shall be limited to the maximum capacity as allowed by the fire code. And condition 23I will now be amended to read, the permit holder shall be responsible for maintaining the premises free of litter and trash at all times. Any graffiti painted or marked upon the premise shall be reported to the city and or removed or painted over within 72 hours after discovery. So in other words, within 72 hours, you either have to remove it, paint it over, or report it. I believe that was Commissioner Neal's request. And it was just those three conditions that were further amended by Commissioner Neal from the director's memo that was provided.
Yeah, I want to make sure on the condition for that, if they report the graffiti and it doesn't get cleaned up, how do we enforce the condition on their property if they just say, well, we reported and they didn't clean it up. We reported it and it cleaned up. How do you enforce
I would say,
that
for
condition?
instance, if we will have records if it's reported. So if, sorry, Ms. Leach, but if she reports it 96 hours later, we can go back and see if it was reported to the city within that 72-hour time frame. And I would say it's probably 72 hours of an event. And if it was, and the city's taking longer than the typical 24 hours, then that would just be leeway that's provided.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I see no other commissioner comments. We do have a motion in a second. I would just again.
One more, I'm sorry. And Commissioner Neal, did you want to amend one of the conditions to talk about it like a single signage versus multiple signs? That's your call. Okay.
Fantastic. Before I call the vote, I do just want to thank everyone that came out tonight to talk about this item. It is really nice to have civil discourse. And again, Commissioner Neal, resounding that an applicant would, that a neighbor would come with concerns but still support the project, and that the applicant would hear. I look forward to you officially meeting after the hearing. And I also just, I represent downtown, Ward 2, which is now the other side of 24th. But I think it's really nice that you're adding life to an area that kind of closes out when it's not the workday. And so I think having more people, more activity downtown, I appreciate all the camera footage, because I think it shows that being downtown, you have to work together with your neighbors, because sometimes it's your trash, sometimes it's someone else's trash. Sometimes it's trash from an apartment building 4 blocks away that you don't know how it got there, but now it's in your front door. And so I think there are a few other parts in town where being neighborly is that important. I think neighborly is important everywhere, but downtown I think it's heightened. So I appreciate the applicant moving forward. I personally am glad we're not adding 100 parking spaces to the F Street corridor. I think that would maybe not be aligned with our stated vision for a walkable downtown. And just wish you, we have the motion. So I will just go ahead and say I wish you success in your business. I wish you successful neighbor happy hours and joint general good feelings. And with that, let's take a vote.
Motion passes with Commissioner Biddle absent.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 7, communications.
Does staff have any communications?
Just that we will have a meeting in 2 weeks on November 21st. The meetings in December right now are, we're looking at what we can see about getting scheduled there. It may not be positive.
All right, 2 weeks and then question mark. Sounds great. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 8, commission comments.
Does any commissioner have any comments? Commissioner Strickland?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank staff for workshopping that kind of live with changes for conditions. Thanks for flexibility.
It's all about the public service.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 9, adjournment.
This meeting is adjourned at 6:30. Have a great evening.